Well, look who's here. Back for another episode of Local Whidbey, or is this your first episode? Today's guest is about to blow your mind, expand your horizons, and quite possibly make you wish you'd paid more attention in science class. We are talking to the brilliant Hai Anh Vue, the powerhouse behind the Whidbey Island Language, Art, and STEM Center, or as the cool kids say, WILASC. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, an educational center that combines languages, art, and STEM? That's like the ultimate brain-boosting trifecta, and you would be absolutely right. Hai Anh has created something truly special, an innovative space where curiosity thrives. Kids, and let's be honest, adults too, can explore new ideas, and learning is anything but boring. Whether it's diving into a new language, getting hands-on with science, or unleashing creativity through art, WILASC is making education feel like an adventure. We have all seen the ads on social media called Masterclass, where experts in their field let you in on how they mastered their craft. This is the same thing, but for the kids. I'm genuinely inspired by Hai Anh and everything she's accomplished. In just 4 years on the island, she's launched WILASC, brought it to life, and built a team of local instructors to support her vision. She told me she simply decided to put herself out there and make it happen, like just a year ago. And let's be honest, while the saying "build it and they will come" sounds great, it's not the full story. Success takes more than a good idea. You have to solve a real problem, create a structure that delivers on its promises, and keep spreading the word day after day. It's hard work. It's perseverance. It's navigating resistance, roadblocks, and setbacks. What impresses me most about Hai isn't just that she's incredibly smart, it's that she's doing all of that. And because of her vision, dedication, and grit, our children on this island now have access to opportunities they might not have ever had otherwise. So get ready for a conversation about why this kind of learning matters, what it takes to build a center like this on Whidbey Island, and why you should never underestimate the power of combining left brain logic with right brain creativity. Trust me, you're going to want to take notes. Let's get to it. If you've been told to just use AI, but you still feel stuck on what to say, where to show up, and how to stay consistent, that's not an AI problem. It's a communication strategy problem. That's why the AI Desk was created by the Media Insider. The AI Desk helps small business owners organize their message, clarify their voice, and build a communication system that can actually run without hiring an agency and without sounding like everyone else online. AI should support your thinking, not replace it. That's the AI Desk from the Media Insider. Clarity first, tools second. For a free 30-minute discovery call, go to themediainsider.co and click Connect. Hello, Hai Anh. It's so nice to finally get to interview you.
Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. What did you think about that intro? Did I nail it, or was it over the top?
Thank you. I am very flattered. I think that was a wonderful introduction. I also feel that it's very exciting when a lot of people look at what we create and have their own interpretation. And that's always exciting because it's like there are things that you didn't even think about, and then they have their own interpretation of it. And so
I'm glad you brought that up, because someone has said that to me. They said, I didn't know that's what the public might think about me. And I like that.
Yes.
Yes,
you
don't
exactly.
Think you know what you think you know, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with your Whidbey Island story. When and why did you move here, and what drew you to this beautiful corner of the world?
Thank you for the question. I would first say I moved here because of my family. So, my husband is from the Pacific Northwest. He's from Washington, born and bred. And he moved around in Asia and met me there for a long time. And we got married there. But after a while, he wanted to move back here with his family.
Okay.
So, I would say if I have been living in many places around, but mostly in warmer places, in Vietnam, in Hong Kong. Yes. And except for a brief stint of college, 4 years of college in Maine. So if you say, let's pick an island in the Pacific Northwest where it's really warm and really cold and rainy for half the year, I'd probably be like, no, not really my top choice.
Right.
But with my family, we decided to move here. We decided to have a farm and have discover a different way of life.
Right.
And so for me, it's wholly a new adventure. And I have to be honest, I knew very little about Whidbey Island before I came.
Right.
I had visited one day, once. The only thing that Scott, my husband, told me as a pitch to me was that, you lived in Maine. People there are very nice, very authentic, and a lot of artists. And it is very similar to Whidbey Island. So maybe you will like it here. So I was like, okay, let's see.
Yeah.
And fast forward 4 or 5 years, it hasn't been all easy, especially the winters here for me.
Right.
But I think it's also been very interesting because I've been pushed kind of out of my comfort zone to be in a new place and getting used to it. And now I look back at that and I feel like, oh, I did that.
Right.
And I'm enjoying the journey of many unexpected things because I didn't have that before.
How many years have you been here?
4.5.
Wow. And you've developed this wonderful program that we'll get into in a minute, listeners. Wow. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're my kind of gal. So have you always had a passion for education?
Yes. So I had a very good education in my childhood, but it was really my opportunity to go to college, to a very good school in Maine, liberal arts college that I felt really changed my life. So I'm always grateful for that. And the reason I was able to go there was also because I had some financial aids from the school.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it's always been internal driver, even though I didn't work directly in education before. It's always a driver for me to feel like, education changes life. And I also think in my family, there are a lot of teachers. And so I think I have some of that gene. I really like to be a teacher, like to teach things and inspire kids and other people. So I think this job is great because it kind of accumulates a lot of the things that I am interested in.
Hai Anh created the Whidbey Island Language, Art, and STEM Center. Now, do you always say the whole name or do you say the acronym?
I usually say WILASC.
WILASC.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted her to say it first, listener, because I didn't want to say it wrong.
I know it's a mouthful. And at that time, it's like, let's pick a name. And then that's a name. And, people will get used to it. So obviously you saw a gap in the community with this and you wanted to fill it. So tell me about that and how that came about. Yes. So there are 2 factors that contributed to the foundation of WILASC. One of them is, as you say, there's a gap in the community that I saw when I came here. Before we moved here, we were in Hong Kong, which is a very big and densely populated city. And enrichment programs were abound. It was a real industry and we never were lacking of any programs for our kids.
Right.
And so when I came here, it became apparent pretty soon, because I have 2 young kids in school, that it's harder to get any enrichment classes. It's not just that there's a lack of offerings, but also when there are offerings, there's always a wait list. And apparently there was really no language program. There was a language academy at that time, which I actually volunteered for. But beyond that, there was no coding, robotics, any of the STEM programs.
Wow.
And so for me, it was it was apparent that something could be done about that.
Right.
And I had volunteered for the language art, for the Northwest Language Academy at that time. And then they closed because their founder passed away.
Oh.
And so there was a gap at that time. And so I was encouraged by some friends to say, hey, why don't you do it? Why don't you open something?
Right.
And so we did some research and we opened, I did some surveys among parents that I know and online as well. And then I thought, okay, let's try this.
Right.
So, but the second factor that drove me to create something like this is also related to my education in college, which is a liberal arts education. And that's where I got to learn a lot of things that were, even if they were not directly related to my major. Right. So I majored in economics and French, which is which was, economics because I'm Asian. And, like you said about technology, right? My parents were like, let's do something that you can get a job later.
Right.
But I got to learn many other things, from dance to languages, and, women's studies and English, things that would be so enriching and I found really helpful for my overall education and thinking and critical thinking skills and all that.
So I'm with you. I went to liberal arts as well.
Yeah.
And that is the critical thinking skills that once you get out in the workplace, that employers say they like to hire liberal art educated graduates because of that.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And so I thought that was like, I would love for kids to have that from a younger age, to be exposed to that. And so that's why we're having programs in many different subjects, many areas.
Right.
And for me, it's not like you going into a coding class to become a coder. It's more like you learn problem solving skills. You learn to work in teams. Or if you go to art class, it's not like you're going to be an artist, or you have to be, but it's more for your creativity, unleashing your imagination and all that. And all that I think will be so helpful for them as they grow up.
Right. So one of the things I was a little confused on that you straightened me out is that you offer language, you offer art, and you offer STEM.
Yes.
You're not combining those together. So how do the students choose which they want to do? Is it just they come to you and say, we want our child to have more language or more art or more STEM? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think we've been operating for over a year, and it's pretty apparent that the community needs all of that. And so we offer, for example, Spanish classes where kids will go and learn introductory Spanish. And then they would have another class, and there will be another art class, and then another coding class and a STEM class. So those are usually separated. But, they're all guided by the same principle. Right. As I said earlier, is that you focus on the skills that they learn. Of course, they learning coding. They're also learning how to program a language. Right. That's a real skill. But also they're learning, how to problem solve, how to break down a problem from a bigger to smaller problems and try to solve those. Right. So those are the kind of the denominators, for all the classes. But usually the classes are separate, and they would leverage on the expertise of that certain teacher. So we work with, for example, a Spanish teacher. Then he would be more focused on Spanish. He brings some art into his Spanish class. They do some singing, but mainly it's a language class.
One of the things that I wanted to kind of, not to go off on a rabbit trail, but when you were talking about the arts and language and STEM. So when I graduated from college with the information technology degree, I went to work for a company called EDS. And they had a 13-week systems consulting program that I was sent to. And half of the recruits in there were music majors.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't major in technology at all. Yes. But they had found that they could pick up programming and speak the language, because the systems consultant works between the tech team and the client. And they don't want them speaking. They want someone in the middle. They want a middleman.
Yes.
And it had never occurred to me at all.
Yeah.
And they were just as bright, and I could understand why they were recruited. They picked up the programming skills so quickly. So let's talk about that. Have you seen that? Have you seen that someone that came in here for arts also ended up going into STEM as well?
Yes, we do have a lot of students who go to multiple classes that we offer. And so it's really nice to see, that they have different interests in different ways, and their parents encourage all of those. So I think also for the parents here, for the families here, it's like, what do you have, because there are so few things here that whatever we offer end up being well received, because people want to expose their kids to more things.
So do you find, so when we were growing up, we didn't have devices. Do you find that the students seem to adapt to technology quickly because they're already exposed to devices and streaming and all the different things that they get earlier than we did?
Yeah, I think that has never been a barrier, because I think for our programs, we encourage students, the coding programs, which uses a laptop, we encourage students to only use a laptop for programming. So don't do anything else. So they very quick to adapt to, let's say, using a mouse and using the trackpad and getting the programs running. It was an anecdotal experience I had, but I think is very interesting to me was when in summer we had a game design workshop, and it was taught by someone from out of town. He comes from a university down in Seattle in Redmond, and I invited him to come and teach the kids here about game design. And he said the kids here don't use the mouse as well as the ones that we have in the, down in the Seattle area. And for me, it's actually a good thing, because that means they're actually doing other things. They're not on the computer all the time. Right. And so I'm not worried that they can't catch up. I think those are really easy. It's really easy to catch up with those. But the time that they do not spend on the computer or the device is the time that they can really enrich their minds more. Right. So even in our programs, we use, when we use the laptops, it's like for that. And it's not for browsing, it's not for like doing other things that are not related to the immediate task.
Well, this comment I'm going to make is going to age me, but I actually was a WYSIWYG tester. Do you know what WYSIWYG is? It's an acronym for what you see is what you get.
Oh, okay.
And it's the basis of Microsoft software. So when you type something in Word, there is programming behind that. So as you type, it'll be what you see is what you get. The same with Excel, same with all the other publishing programs that Microsoft puts out. Yeah. And so you're like, well, we started using Excel like in 1988. Yeah. I was testing it when I was in the systems consulting program. And so, it is crazy these days, because I remember when my son was in second grade, he came home and he already was using a presentation software to do his reports. And I was like, what? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Which is great though. Right? Yeah. Okay. So what's one of the most exciting or unexpected discoveries you've made while teaching and working with students?
Yes. So I think it relates to what we talked about in the beginning, is that everyone sees WILASC in a different way. And it's very exciting for us, because I found that the students who come to our programs, them and their families have different reasons to come. And sometimes it's not what you had planned at all, but it was kind of a side reason, but it was very interesting to us to observe. So for example, sometimes students would come, a lot of students come here because they are doing something at home and they want to find more of that outlet to do that. So students who code at home, but now they have a coding club to code with, people who, have art at home, love art, but now can come here for that. But there are also students who come because they are homeschooled. And here is both their learning space and their social space. So they actually interact. They have chance to interact with the students. And sometimes it's like, oh, it's art, what you're doing. But it's because they don't go to traditional schools. So for their parents, their families appreciate that, because it gives them that social space. And sometimes students who have special needs, and it's another chance for them to get themselves out there and talk to a new person. Yeah. And so those are really the unexpected things that I found very rewarding for our program.
So, STEM can be a little intimidating to kids, much less adults. But how do you make it fun and engaging and approachable?
Yes. So I think we are lucky to have STEM teachers, coding teachers, and STEM teachers who love teaching, who love kids. And most of the activities become kind of a game session, kind of activities where there's a lot of challenges, fun challenges for them, where they get to interact a lot and do different things, like experiments in class and try to make a car run by a balloon, for example. It's always, I think kids inherently, they like that type of discovery, and then tying the learning to that, right? You learn about speed, you learn about, what makes something run, for example. Yeah. And then for coding is having a lot of examples of exercises that are very real life related. Last year we did a lot of Scratch programming where the kids get to design games, and then Python, they get to, for example, count the words of War and Peace novel. They have to code something to do that. And so all of those challenges make it interesting, and it's not like a boring just learning the theory. And I think I would credit the teachers a lot for doing those, because they understand the students. And we also tell all the teachers that, it is an educational and it is an entertainment experience. Yeah. So if it's not entertainment, we can't get the kids. They won't come back, right? Yeah. So it has to be interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite success story of a student who really blossomed?
If you're talking about someone who go ahead from our program to win a prize, then we don't have that.
You've only been doing this a
year. Yes. But we have a lot of moments where I feel like a success when we can connect kids to the programs that they love, to explore the interests that they haven't been able to do at home. Right. For example, I talked about coding earlier. They wanted to, some of them like, oh, my kids code at home a lot. They go to online program, but now they can go to the coding club. So that I find each of that is a success story. And then, for example, we have our Spanish program, and we didn't know, there are students who have come here from all over. Some with parents who come from a Spanish-speaking country. So that's a heritage language for them. And we're helping them to continue that by having the class. And then there are students who have been somewhere else. We have a Spanish student who has been with us since the beginning. And her mom just loves it because she used to go to a school, I think in Arizona, and it was totally bilingual. And so coming here is like cutting off all that connection to Spanish. And by having this program, she's going to this program now, she's able to keep continuing that. And so all of those, I feel, for me, is like, that is success. That is bringing the programs to whoever needs them, and need them for different reasons that sometimes you don't even know, and so I'm happy about all of that. Another one, actually not about the program, but with the cultural activities, like a Lunar New Year activity that you went to, is we have, I don't know if you remember, there was a student who was teaching calligraphy.
Yes.
And she's actually an Asian student from Tibet. Yeah. And it was actually, it was also unintended, right? And later she told us that it was the first time ever that she found that her culture was being celebrated, and she felt very comfortable, like sharing and interacting with people and teaching them about calligraphy, about something about her culture.
It makes you feel good inside that people are interested in it.
Yeah. And so, so those are the moments I feel like, oh, I created something that brings people together and serve their purpose.
Do you ever find that there's a common misconception about STEM and languages, about its difficulty or approachability?
I think not as much a misconception, but I do believe sometimes people think that, especially for language, you have to learn it because it has to serve a utilitarian purpose. Like, oh, you only learn French because later, your family's from France, or later you go to France.
Because you're going on vacation.
Yeah. But learning language, especially for children, is like one of the best things you can do to boost their brain development. So I think that's something that should be stressed more, about the benefits of being bilingual, of learning about other languages and learning about other cultures. And that helps you a lot, especially for children who grow up here, because it's relatively not very diverse environment and not a lot of exposures to all these cultures and, people from different backgrounds. And so that's kind of like the portal for your kids that will help them in the future. And, I think there's not a lot of misconception among parents nowadays about like STEM for girls or, but we do still see a disparity between in the ratio of men, girls and boys in our STEM classes. And so that's something that I really wish that we could do something about and address. But whether it's because people think, oh, girls don't like gaming, or something. Yes. So, you come from tech background too,
Well, when I started, though, it really was. I was the only female in a group of guys in my first big job. But fortunately, I reported to the only female director of the division, and she took me to everything, almost kind of like reversed. And she'd say, Margaret, pick up your stuff. Let's go to this client meeting. And the guys would say, can we go too? She'd say, no.
It's girls only.
Yes. Yeah. And so I appreciated her doing that. I learned so much from her that she was doing that. And I know that things have really changed, but like you said, you still see that going on.
Yeah.
Do you think it's an age thing? Do you think that girls get more into it as they get into high school and boys start earlier when they're younger?
I don't know, to be honest, because I haven't interacted a lot with the high school groups. My kids are in elementary school level, and also a lot of the kids that we are working with are in the age group of 14 and under. So I don't have a lot of empirical data to say. I do believe that if it's not nurtured from young age, the gap's going to be bigger because they're discouraged. We have a coding class right now that has 10 boys, and the teachers are a male, and the TA is also a male student. And so you can imagine this one girl who goes to that class now. And I can imagine, her going to that class would be like, oh, I feel out of place. And so to address that is something we have to do collectively, right? And try to highlight that so people understand that that is something that, if you have a daughter or a granddaughter, it's something that you should encourage them to do.
And, just put them in it, see how they like it. Especially robotics.
Yes.
Because that is so interesting. And I've watched some of those documentaries, online. And the girls are just as good as the boys, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So would you say that's one of your biggest challenges in creating and running WILASC, or do you have specific challenges you have?
I think I would say the biggest challenge for us is to find teachers. It's a small island. It's a small community, and sometimes the incidence of the probability of you finding the right teacher for your program is purely by chance. Even though, we can go out and advertise our jobs and all that, I don't know, we all don't always have the pool of applicants of people who want to work with us. So it has been a lot. I feel like I'm a matchmaker, or I feel like I'm looking for a boyfriend or something, I go around and be like, I look on Facebook, I look on Facebook group, I go to groups, I go to parties like, hey, are you a teacher? But you work about, and you find all the connections you have. So you try to be creative about it, but it's constantly a challenge because also the housing situation here is hard for young people. So we have a lot of young teachers who end up not staying, or, they can't stay long term because they can't stay. So it's a revolving issue. So I would say that's the biggest challenge when you operate something like this in a small community and still trying to get very good quality program and consistent running, from year to year. So that's something that we are trying to deal with.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Just to clarify, can the person be in the industry and not be a teaching certificate?
Of course, yeah. Okay. Yeah, for us, it's not as important that they are a teacher as for their passion for kids and the passion for teaching the subject. So we actually have someone now who is a Navy officer, and he's volunteering for the coding program because I don't have anyone else.
Right.
But I found him on Facebook, and he's like, okay, I will help you. And so we give him training and instructions. Right. But I can see that he loves the kids enough. Yeah. You know, he has kids in some of our coding clubs too, that he's learning by himself too. And he's, you know, taking the experience as he goes, you know, taking notes and making it better every time. And that's really what we look for in teachers is that growth mindset too, right? Because no one knows everything. And sometimes you learn through experience, through your colleagues and, having try and error, and then you become better at it. Right. So, I would say some of our teachers come from a traditional school environment and some do not have that background. But for us, it's like, do you want to do this?
Right.
Yeah, that's more important.
So what is something you've learned about yourself through this whole journey so far?
I think positive things. I would say I have worked in a lot of environments, and some of them more successful than others. And of course, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm good at this or I can do this. And I think I have adult ADHD. It's like someone who has a lot of ideas, you know, right. But not always, like sometimes very scattered. Right. And so for this, going to this job is a kind of a, let's see what works. But I've learned actually that it combines a lot of the skills that I like to use, which is, you know, connecting people and connecting the community and creating events and making people come together and communication and education and all that. And so for me, it's like learning that I can be good at something I really like to do. And it's very satisfying because now, you know, through a lot of winding roads that lead me here, now I feel like, oh, it is a fit. It is a good fit. And it helps me to express myself and be a positive contribution right. to the community.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was going to ask you, but you pretty much already answered it about the way you run the organization and how living on Whidbey has, you know, forced you to run it in a certain way. Mm-hmm. You pretty much just answered that with the fact that, you know, it's hard to keep young families here because mm-hmm. of the housing situation. It's hard to find people to teach and that type of thing. So I won't reiterate that, but has there been any aha moments that when you realize, wow, this is exactly why I'm doing this?
Yes. So before I answer this question, let me come back to say, I do have things that I run here that are very different from other places as well, that I would in other places. So I used to work in very big corporation in very big cities, right? So the way it runs is very corporate-like. And so when I come here, one of the things I want to do with my program is being very professional. So that's always been the goal, is to maintain that professionalism. But what I've also found when I live here is that we connect to each other on the island with authenticity. And that's not something you can say with every community. Right. So being, showing up authentically is very important here. Building the, real connection is very important here. Yes. And I realize that's the only way that I can keep the program being successful is being very on the ground and being very authentic. And that's the thing that I think ties into being on Whidbey. It's not just running a business, but being on Whidbey. Right. Is you show up as yourself and, you know, you have so close connection. You know, the person who has kids in your program is also the parents of your friends, right? Of your kids' friends, right? And everyone, you interact with people all the time. You have to be able to show up authentically in order to convince people to your program, to whatever you want to do. So that's about that. And then the aha moment, I would say many. Occasionally I will get emails or text and stuff from parents who say, hey, you know, you really make a difference and your program is contributing to something that we've never had before, and really helping out the community. And it's always so nice to hear. And then I think the biggest driver is when you really physically go in a room and see a room full of students. And it's like, oh, I made this happen. The teachers and the students are here because we created this. Yeah. And this is a chance for them to learn. Last week we had a full room of students in our coding club. And that was like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. Because I know these students are in the Navy community, a lot of them, and it is hard for them to get these opportunities. Right. And so it's just very satisfying when we can see these things.
Well, to go back just a little bit with the whole corporate environment, that's my personality too, is what I came from. And one of the things that when I first moved here, property I live on, the street, everything's really dark. And so I had the electrician come out to light up my front yard at night. And he said to me, why are you doing this? This is not why people come here. They come to be unseen. They come to be away from people.
Exactly.
And now you're lighting up your house. And at the time, it's not anymore. I said, my husband travels a lot. And when I look outside, I want to be able to see outside. But one of the things I've learned is that might be just a tad bit of truth. But the more people I meet here, they do want connection. Yeah, sometimes they do want to be left alone. But they do want connection. And I think you're absolutely right that this is part of it in that. And finding people that have something in common. Being able to, it's different when you're sitting at home and you're playing a game or you're watching YouTube videos to learn how to code than when you're sitting in a room with people that you can bounce ideas off of, can hear an answer to a question that you had. Now you don't have to ask.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yes, 100%. Definitely. Yeah. And I would also say, that's something I learned about this too. I know you have a question here about community, right? Yeah. Is that what you did with your club, your cooking club and such? If you want something to happen, you just have to make it happen. Yeah. And then people will actually come out and support. Yeah. That's what I find really interesting, really heartwarming about this community.
Well, talking about that in community, if you had one dream program or technology that you currently don't offer right now, what would that be?
So as you probably know, we are sitting in a space that is a classroom that we borrow. So it's actually not being the model that I had when I first imagined for the center to be. The center, there is not actually an official learning center for WILASC. WILASC is an entity that actually goes around in different neighborhoods and different school districts and offers there, which is working well. But I would dream about having a real hub, especially for technology, for STEM education, where kids can go in and there would be, available Legos there. There would be available devices, and there would be 3D printer, for example, where kids can tinker with and have experiments and have a lot of things happening in that space. Right. And so that's kind of my dream.
Okay. So we're putting that out there.
Yes.
Listener. Because, people who would listen and might listen later, that's the beauty of a podcast.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I know a space. I know how I can help make this happen. And so, I'm glad you said that, because even myself, I've looked into different spaces just to have, I would love to have not a country club, but it's just for women.
Yeah.
Just for women to hang out.
Yeah.
And have events and things like that. Not to exclude men from our lives, but just to have that type of place. And I think that when you put things out there, people will say, hey, I have this building over here and nobody's in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for you, it'd be probably great if it was halfway between both ends of the island, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think most likely it will be nearer to Oak Harbor. There's bigger population there for a lot of students who benefit from such a center.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, what role do you see WILASC playing in the community in the next few years to come?
I think we will definitely continue to do what we're doing, which is to For us, if you see our website, there's one thing that I say was a masterclass on Whidbey Island, and that's masterclass in the sense that you've seen the masterclass, where like Bill Clinton or Inna Garten or whoever, is teaching their skills. Yeah. And for us, that's how we see ourselves: is we are the connector of the talents and the people who want those talents. Right. So, continuing to build that. With the revolving, population, right? Of whoever comes here can find that, hey, I can contribute my talent by, teaching a class in WILASC, for example, right? And the community can benefit from that. So continuing to further our mission for enriching the kids' education in different ways. And also, as you've seen, we try to do the Lunar New Year party, right? That's an example of how we want to make the island more of a diverse place, and there are more culture, there are more awareness and celebration of other cultures on the island. So that's one of the things that we would love to help doing. And so I think those are the main things, being the hub for the community to come together, learn different things, learn different cultures.
That was a great answer to my next question, which is how do you hope that Whidbey Island evolves in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yes,
being more culturally aware.
Yes.
And more activities. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think whatever we think about in terms of the future, like for me, it's a lot about how do I want the community to be like for my kids to grow up, for other kids to grow up in. And so along with that cultural diversity, I also think I'm hoping that we can solve this housing issue so that, we have more housing for people from different backgrounds to come, and even for children here to have better housing situation. Right. I see that as an issue that impacts a lot of the community in different ways. And so that's one thing that I hope that we'll be able to achieve.
So are there any lessons the community has taught you? Since you're the one teaching all the time.
No, I'm actually not teaching. I am the one who organizes the programs.
True.
I do interact with the students a lot. I go into the classrooms and, I know the kids know me. Not everyone knows my name because my name's difficult, right? Yeah. But they do know my face and they'll come say hi. And some of them think I'm a teacher, which is very flattering to me, right? Because they know me well. But in terms of what, about making things happen. Yeah. So it took courage, right, to start something. For me, it was like, I'm in my pajamas all day. I'm doing my stay-at-home jobs. Right? I don't want to go outside to put myself out there. Yeah. But when I started the program, I realized I had to, right? But what I realized is things like that, or things like the Lunar New Year, which we did for the second year now, is once you start, you don't have to do alone. Like everyone comes out to help you. Yeah. And the Lunar New Year was a beautiful example because it was me and the director of Hamoja Place, two of us, right? And then some of her staff who talked about this. But once I just said, hey, there's a program. Everyone come in, contribute something. And someone was like, I bring food. And someone else like, I bring music. Yeah. And someone else is like, I can do calligraphy, Wow, so it happens because of the whole community. And so that's what the community has taught me is that, there's a support out there if once you just try to raise your voice and talk about what you want to see happening, then the community is out to help you.
So do you have anything coming up that you would like the listener to know about? Anything that we should be looking out for?
Definitely. Yes. So this is our third year having summer camp program, which is so exciting. Okay. We started with the summer camp program in 2023. And so last year we had a lot of camps, and this year we are expecting more camps and more diverse camps. Yeah. And I would love to see more people from Whidbey, as well as people have relatives and friends from out of town to come, which is always exciting. to know more about us and to come to our summer camp programs, because it's most exciting time of the year on Whidbey Island. It's
just in case
beautiful.
Someone doesn't know how your summer camp operates, how that works. Can you explain it really quick, just for informational purposes?
Sure. Yes. So, in summer we usually have week-long program, and it's day camps.
Day camp.
Yes. Okay. So students would come either half day or full whole day until 3 p.m. And there are classes, there are camps in music, art, languages, and STEM, coding, robotics, all kinds. And so they can choose weekly what camps they want the kids to enroll in, and whether it's half day or full day. So it's fully flexible for people who want to do half day or want to park the kids all day and go to work. And so it's we try to have a lot of teachers on the island to be teachers for the camps, the leaders for the camps. But we also invite teachers from outside of Whidbey Island to come. So, for example, last year we got someone from the one of the biggest universities in game programming in the country, but it's located in DigiPen. It's located in Redmonds. Okay. So they come over, and there's a very unique opportunity that happens in summer, because they can do a whole day camp, and it's worth their travel to come. Yeah. Right? Or someone who comes for a week or so, they can't do it in the after school program because it's not worth the ferry for them to go weekly. Right. So we're hoping to diversify more of those programs to make sure the kids have more. More exposure.
So how can the community get more involved in supporting you?
Thank you for asking that. There are many ways that the communities can support. First, our website is www.wilasc.com, WILASC. That stands for Whidbey Island Language, Art and STEM Center. Yes. And so that one, the website would have all the information about us if anyone needs to find information. The community, I think in the small community, the power of word of mouth is huge. And there's something that parents need to realize, is that programs, not just our programs, but for any of the programs out there, unless you support, it will not happen. Right. We always need a minimal number of students for the class, and to keep it going, and to keep the teachers being engaged in our program. Otherwise, they go somewhere else and find something else. Right. And so even if you don't engage, your kids can't go to a certain program, there is a lot of, it's very appreciated if the parents can tell other parents, and can tell the community about us, so that at least the programs can happen. Right. That's the way to go. Keep sending teachers to us. I think that's the main thing, that, this program happens mostly because of the teachers. Right. And so it will not happen without the teachers.
Yes. So. Yes. So listeners, spread the word, especially if you know people in these programs. Oh, I just thought about something. We've been talking so much about STEM. Whidbey Island has a really good art community. Yes. So do you probably don't have problems getting art teachers, right? Do you need more art teachers?
Always. More is always. Okay. Yes. So because art is also a huge field, right? Somebody can be more specialized in pottery, and others maybe more into acrylics or something else. And so and the diversity, the diversity of voices and of perspectives are always appreciated.
Okay, great. Well, I really, really enjoyed my time with you. I really have.
Thank you.
And thanks for all the information. I know we talked through this really fast, but like she said, you can go to their website and her Instagram account, and you're on Facebook, correct?
Yes.
And find all this information, or just go to Google. If you type it in, you'll get tons of information. She isn't hard to find. You just actually have to get out there and do it.
Yes.
So thank you so much. I hope you had a great time.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap on another episode of Local Whidbey with Magsy. Whether you're all about island life or just island bound in spirit, I hope you all are audacious islanders. Thanks for tuning in and celebrating the people, places, and magic that make Whidbey Island so special. Just in case you're curious or you know someone who would be great at teaching for WILASC, they can only accept students if they have more instructors. Instructors' pay starts at $40 an hour, and currently they are always looking for language teachers, STEM, robotics, coding, marine science, space science, Lego STEM, herbal science, farming, and other outdoor STEM-based education. Art such as photography, filmmaking, writing, music, and performing arts. As for this podcast, don't forget to share the love. Tell a friend, leave a review if you have something positive to say, and follow along for more stories from our audacious island. Until next time, keep it quirky, keep it local, and keep loving Whidbey Island.